A good Tuesday afternoon to you. I'm Jarrod, Ulrey, sports writer from ThisWeekNews, here with Scott Hennen, fellow sports writer. We're out at Hartley High School today, previewing the state semifinal week, and we're here with Hartley football coach Brad Burchfield.
Thanks for coming, Jarrod. Scott, we appreciate it. Absolutely.
Well, Hartley is 12-1. Back in the, it seems like every year at about this time we're talking about long playoff runs that Hartley's in, and you guys are back in state semi this year in Division III. What's this journey been like for you guys?
Well, it's been hard. It's been great. We have a great football team. We have an unbelievable kids. I mean, I think the story's been said that, we have 5 of our coaches have kids on the team, and so we've kind of grown up with these guys, and their teammates have been kind of in our group for a long time. So really happy, really proud, blessed that we've been able to practice this long with them and be around them. It's a great group of kids, and we have a lot of fun. I mean, that's the good part and the good thing, and I think you can see it in some of the games that we've had, some resilient victories, and I think that doesn't happen by accident. I think it's a great group of kids. But, as you said at Division III, I'm really proud. A few years ago we were Division V, and then so we've won it in 5, 4, 3, and it's harder. I'd spent a long time saying that teams are teams in this, but Division III, it's been harder. I can feel the leaning and the tiredness and the brutality that it kind of goes. Numbers matter in football, there's no question. So we're really proud to be in the position we're in, but it hasn't been easy.
Well, you guys won the title in 15 and 16. How does this team compare with those two teams?
I always like to say I don't want to compare them because I don't want to take anything away from one or to the other. I don't know because I don't know how this journey is going to end. No one would have predicted the 15 team when we lost 3 or 4 games in the middle of the year to win the state championship and beat Steubenville and all that. And that team goes down as it's my favorite team, honestly. So I don't know. This is as good a team as any of them. It's definitely played a tougher schedule than any of them have ever played. I think of our early teams that were so successful, and they were tremendous, but they weren't, no disrespect, but we can't call those same teams to play anymore. And we're playing tougher schedule and we're winning.
What do you think have been some of the reasons this program has gotten to be on such a consistently high level year after year like this?
I think all the cliches are true. I think that the culture of the school is incredible, and it is filtered to the program. The program tries to be a reflection of it. It's not perfect, but it's awesome. It's a lot of fun every day. We have great groups of kids. All the tenets of why all the teams win that win are evident here. I mean, we're not, after we lose to Clinton Massey, nobody's quitting and nobody's blaming and nobody wants to, all that. And when we win, I don't know that it's Game 7 of the World Series either. It's getting closer to that now, but I don't think it's that. So I think that that's part of the culture and the growth and development. Obviously, we've had the same coaching staff for a long time. We've had 3 coaching staffs here since 1964. So there's a stability that's expected of this is the way we do business. This is the standard of excellence that we're always going to have, and we're always going to strive for.
Well, it's been several months since we've been out here, and you guys are getting ready for the state semifinal against Trotwood Madison. They're 10-3. You guys are 12-1. What do you see as being some of the maybe the keys to the matchup, or some of the things to watch for Friday?
Well, obviously it's good on good. Like we said, it was it's a heavyweight fight. It is Ali Frazier type stuff. These teams are always deep in the tournament every year, and it's good on good. This isn't. Sometimes we can say, hey, we're the best team that team has played all year. We can't say that with Trotwood. They've played every bit of the schedule that we've played against great football teams. Their kids expect to win. You could go through all the keys, stopping them and being able to move them and all this kind of matching their physical play and their enthusiasm. But nobody knows. It's going to be turnovers and it's going to be penalties and it's going to be big plays, the same thing that win all the games.
Now, do you, when you get to this stage of the season, do you try to put in new wrinkles? Do you try to simplify things? How do you prepare?
I think it's the opposite for us. I mean, I think we spend the first about 5 weeks trying to figure out what we're good at. So if somebody were to watch us the first half of the season, they might see us do some different things because I just don't know what we're good at doing or how we're going to all come together. So we do a lot then. I think as you get later in the season, you're figuring out what you're good at, and you're going to kind of do that in the games. And it's either going to be good enough or it's not going to be good enough, but you're going to go home using your best stuff. That doesn't mean the wrinkles aren't there. Listen, the fake punts and the the onside kicks and the halfback passes. I mean, they're all still tenets of what we want to do if they're available, if you get the right availability. But you want to have your best plays. You want Mason and Angelo and Jalen and Miles with the ball in their hands behind Daniel Tucson and Skelly and Kenyon and Thivner and you want to have Sammy Ray. You want to have your best guys behind your best guys, when it matters the most.
Well, Scott's going to be out at that game on Friday, and we really appreciate you joining us today.
Absolutely,
It's great, and good luck on Friday.
And we've got 3 teams in Central Ohio. They're still alive. Obviously, both real well coached. Jay does a great job at Pickerton and Milan at Harvest Prep. So hopefully, it's real exciting for Central Ohio. Appreciate what you guys do. Thanks, guys.
You.
Thanks.
Well, again, that's going to be Friday night at London. 7 o'clock, and Scott's going to be there covering that for us. You can check us out at ThisWeekSports.com. We're going to have coverage of all 3 of those games this weekend, like you're saying. As far as this matchup Friday, you've got a couple of teams. As far as Trotwood Madison's concerned, I mean, he mentioned their schedule. It's it's been really tough. I mean, it's.
What you mean, Trotwood's?
Yeah,
or theirs?
Trotwood's.
Both, really.
Yeah, I mean that's true. I mean, Trotwood played Division I team after Division I team, and I mean they're 10-3. But a couple things about this matchup that kind of stuck out to me is that both teams are kind of coming off these games here last week where they got it done at the right time, obviously, and they both made some big plays on defense right at the end. I know on the very last play of the game, George Dunor of Hartley returned an interception, 99 yards for a touchdown, which was a pretty cool way to end the game. And Trotwood also got a big interception return on there, late in their game to kind of seal their win.
And Hartley, they rode Jalen January throughout, and that's what you do.
Yeah.
You find what works and you keep doing it. You do that eats the clock, kind of the Brian White mentality kind of thing, just to eat up the clock.
He was talking about how, after the game Friday night, he talked about how they maybe did kind of simplify things just at the end. When they knew they needed to get the big touchdown, they figured we're just going to give it to January. And they did, like almost every play. I think 12 out of 13 plays on their game-winning drive. So, I mean, it's been a formula that's worked for them all year. And we'll see how it works out Friday night.
Yep.
Well, the game I'm going to be covering, Pickerington Central's 12-1, and they're going to Canton Glen Oak to play Mentor, 13-0 Mentor. This is a rematch of the 2017 state championship game, which Pickerington Central won 56-28. That was a very fascinating game. I was really lucky to be able to cover that game. Demetri Crenshaw was a sophomore at that time at quarterback for them, rushed for 6 touchdowns. Obviously, a program-changing type of performance for them. From what you've seen, what do you think of this matchup, Friday?
Well, it's an interesting one because Mentor has a really balanced offense. I mean, they have a quarterback, Ian Kipp, who's passed for 2,200 yards. They have a running back, Ryan Trobel, 1,500 yards rushing. They have this kid going to Kent State, Luke Floria, almost 1,000 yards, 939 yards. Receiving. I keep wanting to say rushing. 52 catches, which is quite a bit, and 16 touchdowns. He's really a playmaker for him. I believe he had over 200 yards last week in the regional final win.
Well, this is a matchup where Mentor's coach Steve Trevisano he's retiring at the end of the season. I mean, the guy's he's only 56 years old, but I've read some stories about this. I mean, he's been there for 23 years. He just kind of felt like it was a good time to go this year. He announced it several months ago. So this is a team that's going to come into this matchup very focused. I mean, it's going to be quite a challenge for Pickerington Central, but I mean, of course they've passed almost every challenge they've had this year. I mean, that huge win over Groveport last week to kind of avenge their regular season loss. I mean, that's a great moment for them.
Well, I mean, they held Groveport to like 50 yards in the first half. I mean, it was total domination.
Yeah.
And, they really kind of started to flip the switch. I believe the coach even said that. Coach Jarrod said they flipped the switch, and there's just something that goes in the postseason. So.
And it has to do with a lot of those. They've played so many playoff games the last few years.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is their 4th consecutive state semifinal. These kids that are, now they're seniors, but I mean they experience this for 4 years now. They're playing 14 games every season.
It's expected.
Yeah, it's expected. On Saturday night at DeSales, Harvest Prep is going to play Lucas for the Division 7 Region 27 state semi. Or I'm sorry, it's Harvest Prep comes from Region 27, and they're going to be playing in a Division 7 state semifinal at DeSales. Lucas is in the state semi for the first time in program history. Harvest Prep is back in it for the second time, first time since 2016. This is a matchup where a couple teams who really like to run the ball.
Yeah, so it'll be a quick game. But, Harvest Prep, they've had so many injuries and so many losses for other reasons, but they seem to keep mixing and matching, and they just get the job done. They have so many Division I type athletes for a school that size. Yeah. It's just amazing. I mean, I saw them in week 6 against Grandview, and they just run roughshod over Grandview, and they had just lost 6 players to the transfer rule.
Right, yeah.
So, I didn't know what to expect, and it didn't look like they lost anything.
Well, they actually were in kind of very similar position Hartley was on Friday, where they needed a game-winning touchdown late in the game, and they just kind of they figured we're just going to hand it off to the guys that we know can get the job done, and they got it to Javon Eggert a lot. They used Javon Eggert out of the Wildcat. That game was really sloppy on Saturday because it was wet and it was cold, and nobody could seem to really hang on to the ball out there. That game was at Westerville Central. It was a very entertaining game. It really was. And they fumbled it. I think they lost 3 fumbles in that game. But then second half, they're like, we're just going to skip handing it off. Yeah. So they just kind of had their quarterback, Josiah Carroll, run the ball a few times, and they used Javon Eggert out of the Wildcat some, and turned out to be a formula that worked for them.
Yeah, their system definitely has worked for them. No matter who they plug in, the system has worked.
Well, we wanted to make note of a few more. There's a few teams from Central Ohio that played in regional finals last week. We just wanted to make a quick note of them to recognize their seasons. Double Kaufman lost to Springfield 7-3 last week, and you were at that game.
Yeah, Kaufman, they were beaten and battered. Brian Threats has just been going crazy all year. In the second half of that game, he was noticeably absent from the field, and he limped off a couple times. Afterwards in the locker room, he could barely walk. I was shocked, but he didn't look that bad when he was out on the field, but I guess there's adrenaline going and all that, but they had a lot of going, but man, Springfield looked really good. They had a wide receiver, Larry Stevens. He would go up and make these just outstanding catches on jump balls where he was well covered. You were surprised that he came down with the ball, and he was the difference in the game.
Good to see Kaufman make it back to back-to-back regional finals.
Yeah.
That's great for that program. In Division 2, Region 7 last week, Olentangy lost to Toledo Central Catholic. That's a great story, just everything that Olentangy kind of went through some ups and downs this year, but they were able to get it together at the end and end up with regional runner-up.
Yeah, at 5-5, a lot of people wondered whether they deserved to be in the tournament. You make it into the playoffs, you make a regional final, you deserve to be there.
Yeah. And the team that Pickerington Central beat last week was Groveport. We mentioned them a little bit. What a great turnaround that was for that program to go from 0-10 a couple years ago to 5-5 last year, and then this year here they are. They're beating Pickerington Central in the regular season. They're getting a share of the league title, making it to the third round of the playoffs. That's great for that program.
Yeah, their first league title since 1982. First playoffs since 07. That's 12 years ago. These kids weren't even in school then. And, it was the most wins at 10 they've had since it was 78 and 86. They had 9.
That's right.
Just amazing.
Yeah. Well, there's we're going to be getting out of here shortly. We wanted to mention there's 3 other teams from the Central District that are going to be playing this weekend, and we want to make sure we mention their games. In Division 4, Licking Valley is playing Poland Seminary, and that game is at Massillon, Washington, and that'll be on Saturday night. And then also on Saturday in Division 5, West Jefferson is going to be playing Ironton. That game's going to be at Chillicothe. And then the other game on Friday that involves a Central District team is East Knox. Undefeated East Knox is going to be playing New Middletown Springfield, and that game's going to be at Orville. So lots of chances for Central Ohio to you know, have some representation in the state championship game.
Yeah, a lot of them. Yeah, you know, Licking Valley, they're year in, year out. Coach Baughman has them ready. This year, everyone seems to be pointing at the offense. They're putting up a lot of points, but boy, their defense is just stymied. I mean, last week they held Blue Carroll to 52 yards in the first half, and you know, and they got some yards in the second half to go. I think it was around 210 for total yards, but the game was over by then, and you know, Licking Valley was already looking forward. It's just amazing.
It's a program. It's just a program out there. Well, we want to thank you for joining us for another edition of Facebook Live. For Scott Hennen and Brad Burchfield, I'm Jarrod Ulrey. Thanks for joining us.